Tell this Detroit to pay for you. Well, it's a very quick.
look at the foundation of it, you find that there's a deep belief and excitement around it. Allows revolution. In fact, Leninism says revolution should be violent. So
there's a prefix called senior. So permit me, you might see me calling somebody senior. You know, it means that that person is finishing before me. So it's a very high value prefix in the Google College. So senior. Always exchange this talks about it. So we felt there's a need to also make that formalized. I don't know, one way or the other, we couldn't be able to continue for something, but now it's back. So I would hope that will continue as we have it. So you're welcome to the second edition of ICOBA Business Breakfast Meeting. And I'm sure you are here to learn a lot of things. And also, as you see from our flyer, the purpose is for knowledge, to share knowledge, and also to network, and of course, to bring business opportunities. Okay, before I move forward, let me quickly recognize the presence of the chairman of the supervisory board committee of the Google College, in person of starting this meeting. Very welcome. So I'll move to the fifth agenda now. That is addressed by the chairman and founder, Philip Consulting. So permit me to welcome the past president of ICOBA, the chairman, Google College Board of Governors, of course, as I said, the chairman and founder, Philip Consulting, and the current chairman of Standard Chartered Bank, Mr. Producer Olaide Phillips. Welcome.
Good morning. One thing for what you say. We have to let you know that you are at Ibobi College ICOBA event. So once again, good morning and welcome. Thank you for making me bright and early. These early sessions can be sometimes challenging to some of us that are trying to pretend we are retired. So, yes, like Wally has said, this breakfast meeting that we're having today is really supposed to have been a lot more than we recorded, because the first one was in 2017, and it was very, very successful. And the whole idea was to keep doing this thing and just to make it have a reason for us to come together as old boys, not just not just for the social events that for which we were quite busy with, also thinking the school, but also to begin to stretch out into the whole system, especially that that is the environment in which all our home boys operate. So it was supposed to be a tradition that we're supposed to keep up, but for some reason it just didn't happen again. So I want to congratulate Wale for the committee, because I think it's a standing committee on this now, for reigniting this this particular event, and I hope that it's something we can do continuously. And I'm sure there'll be some great ideas to come on how we can sustain this through maybe more partnerships. We have here Philips Consulting, based on an approach that Wale made, that why don't we sort of do this together? So there are several caps that we wear, one being the Gubi College, yes, then we're all running different organizations, and different organizations tie in with what we can do collectively as boys, then it is something that we should encourage, not just with the breakfast meeting, but anything else in which we can get our own boys to bring in where they work, the things that they've set up to work for us. I want to give a kind of, not a selfish, but not a recognition of a representative of Philips Consulting that's here. And just coincidentally happens to be my son, Mr. Bamidele Phillips, who the only problem he has that he didn't go to Gubi. And even then, I'm still struggling to get his son to go to Gubi because we start both as well. Anyway, but yes, that's that partnership with Gubi, the partnership with the Philips Consulting is not a unique one. It's one in which I hope that your model going forward, that the next breakfast session will try and find another organization to partner with. Say, for example, we decide that today we talk about the economy, which is a nice starting point. But if next time we want to start talking about health or education or infrastructure or oil and gas, then we can get one of our partners or one of our organizations or that have this organization to partner with the school and say, okay, you know, this is the topic for decade. One just walked in, and I'm a great fan of because of the wonderful things he's doing. Wale has his home in the US with the Koramo Capital. He, for example, will be another brilliant partner for this breakfast session because of the approach he has and all the massive investments that are being made across the continent and across the. So I'm saying that this model is one that we want to keep going, and we can give life to it by ensuring that we partner with different old boys that have organizations that have different aspects of the economy, from the politicians to the corporate drivers, etc., etc. So I think that's a good way to start. And I'm sure the topics will be immense as well. So it's a way to keep us alive, and a way to also show that for at ICOBA, it's not again just about our parties, which are great. We have great parties. It's not just about our founders day, but also about enlightening and empowering all our members and the wider community as well, and also to show leadership for all the other old institutions that have their old boys and old girls, because they do reluctantly accept that we take leadership in this area. Having said that, I say a great welcome to all of you, and congratulations to the team for all this. And my only thank yous to the speaker for the day and the panelists, and I hope we can have a great session, great interaction, learn a lot, and maybe the next time we'll have to get a hall that is twice this size. Having said that, thank you and welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, sir, for time to bring them here, so it will be good for them to welcome them. I'm talking about our guest speakers and also without him, this event would have been successful have been there. So for the speaker, Mr. Kunle FC, thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you for the training. I'm learning very hard. Yeah. You know, when you post me like this, I must take your pen, take your file and write. So I also would like to recognize the presence of the discussants. I'll start from Dr. Louis Salami of Lagos Business Group. He's also on the program. I don't know, I asked Dr. Louis to come to the front. He said we'd like to see that back. You know, Dr. Louis Salami is from 7981 said, also Mr. Femi Aoyebe, Chairman, CEO for Sheffield. Firstly, I have plenty senior here. Either you are my senior in Ipan or you are my senior in Bolu College. So I also have my very lovely sister, very lovely sister. We call her the first lady of fintech in Africa, Mrs. Folasade Femina. Thank you. I know your time is very hard, but we are here to share with you. Thank you so much. She is the country manager of Global Head for Mastercard in West Africa. Then, of course, my very good friend. The only problem is not Angobian, but it's forgiving. You know, he's the current treasurer of ICANN and also a council member of ICANN. He's an award-winning CFO and express board member, Dr. Oluseyi Oladewa, PhD. In ICANN clapping, we call it mass attack. You know why? When you see his profile, you know why it's called mass attack. So let's move on to the address by our president, the president of Bolu College Good Boys Association. Permit me to invite the lecturer, Mr. Femi Olubam.
Morning. Distinguished guests, I'm really honored to be standing here before you today as President of ECO. Very aware, present in the room of representatives of some of our brothers, ladies, see, and identify people along. I'm happy here today for the business meeting and demonstrate the power in connection, collaboration, and community. ICOBA brand is built on this principle, able to see how we can leverage our collective vision and at the moment of shape vision into institution and the lives of countless individuals and the society. Today actually has a strong presence in Abuja, in Europe, and North America. These are very ambitious, and the events are in every corner. Nigerians are, I think it will be as just body of alumni. So very fine Nigerians find Europeans being in all over the world. The ICOBA Medical is a special event that recognizes the outstanding contribution and the impact they have made in their respective fields. Our annual Christmas party, which is attended not just by Ethiopians, but many of brothers and sister schools, is another special event that brings us together as a family. I'm also excited to reiterate fundraising target, which currently is 5 billion. This ambitious goal is to enable us to support various projects and initiatives that will benefit our institution and also nourish an endowment fund for future generations. And as Senior Felicia Phillips said, ICOBA is open to partnerships with both corporate organizations and individuals, along with Ethiopians for the quality of education quality of infrastructure in Ikobi College. Again, ICOBA has tried integration with other schools in leading the direction where how alumni can intervene beneficially to schools. Now let's talk about Nigeria's economic outlook, which we are here this morning. As we all know, Nigeria is a country with vast potential. I'm sure we've been hearing decades, many who are there, late 60s and 70s. It's something that we've been hearing for the last 40, 50 years. And that somehow its potential has not yet been. However, we also face significant challenges, including infrastructure deficits, insecurity, particularly now, and corruption, which has always been with us. Despite these challenges, I'm optimistic about Nigeria's economic prospects. With the right policies to encourage both local and foreign investments, rather than capital flight in its many forms, I believe we can unlock our country's full potential and achieve sustainable economic growth. In 2017, we launched our first business breakfast meeting, which was a success. Today, I'm excited at the launch of this initiative, and I thank particularly Wade Abema, his for the initiative. The platform provides a unique opportunity for our members to connect, share, and exchange ideas, formulate on the future of our country, and explore new business opportunities. I must specifically thank the firm of A1FA Consulting for initiating and sponsoring this event, and Philips Consulting Limited for readily collaborating with A1FA in arranging this event and for initiating the first business breakfast meeting in 2017. We have assembled a combination of a very distinguished lead speaker and person of secondary elite, as well as a panel of discussants of no lesser distinction to give us their own unique insights as to the direction of the economy for the year 2025 and its trajectory going forward. All of them have been introduced, but will be more formally introduced shortly when they're invited to take their seats here. Finally, I would like to thank each and every one of you for your support and commitment to ICOBA, and for making the time to be here this early. Even me, it was really a challenge. Some of us go to bed at 5 a.m. So being here for 8 years was really challenging. But I thank you for being here. I thought was here even well before 8 o'clock. Let us continue to work together and build a stronger and more vibrant community that makes a positive impact in the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we are going to move on to the program today now, which is a paper presentation by the lead speaker. If we go to page 6, we are going to see the profile of the lead speaker. Mr. Kunle Enegote is an experienced chartered accountant, financial and management consultant, non-executive director and board committee chair, gained over a period of 40 years, servicing clients in the private and public sector in Nigeria and Sub-Saharan Africa. Permit me, Senator Kunle, the man who stand. If you are my speaker, but I have a mic, so I can order you for now. So while at KPMG, he led several business units: financial services audit, privatization and emerging markets, financial advice services, and advisory whatsoever, which comprised deal advisory, management consulting, risk consulting, and information technology advisory. He also held a number of KPMG leadership roles, which included senior partner, CEO of KPMG Nigeria, chairman of KPMG West Africa, chairman of KPMG Africa. In addition, he served on the boards of KPMG Europe, Middle East and Africa, and KPMG Global Board, including the board of this committee. Mrs. Abdullah Platform. He has held a wide range of sector experience, infrastructure, government and healthcare, FMCG, energy and natural resources, and family businesses that growth enterprises. He led the team that advised the transformation of a significant Nigerian company that expanded across Africa into 10 countries, which also included the ERP implementation into 14 locations across the continent. He was a member of the CBN Technical Committee for Banking Consolidation, SEC Committee on Corporate Governance, as well as several other federal government committees. Globally, he was a member of the Global Infrastructure and Projects Finance Group for Africa and a member of the Global Strategy Team for Multilateral Development Bank. At various times, he served on the boards of a number of local and international not-for-profit organizations, including Society for Family Health in Nigeria, which have annual grant funding of $100 million for HIV prevention, malaria, maternal and child care in partnership with PSI Washington, D.C., USA, Nigeria Economic Summit Group, NESG, America Business Council, PSI Washington, D.C., USA, where he served on the board in the USA for 6 years. He currently serves as an independent, non-executive director on the board of Bright Foods Limited. We also have a Skip Insurance Brokers and CMC Connect. He also shares the board of PSI Nigeria and Teach for Nigeria, and is the chairman, CEO of Gerald Capital Advisory Services. In addition, he attended the Bowie College.
Okay, good morning, everybody. And I'd like to thank you to the organizers for putting that of this early morning presentation. Calls definitely corporate sector for a few years. So I was wondering in my mind, why are they putting me back in? So forgive me, many of the things I say here are not absolutely correct. Responsibility. But my colleagues are capable to the ones who give me the material. So this morning's presentation cover 3 main areas. First of all, context, global regional economic review and outlook, and then review of Nigeria's performance, and then the outlook for Nigeria's economy. In terms of the global regional, various data are saying that GDP forecast globally probably around 3.6%. China will probably still highest, India in particular. China probably done for the trucking with all the tariff wars and so this money on cars. And the fact that he wants to take over Canada and so on and so forth. You know, so it's going to be a challenging year for just everyone is grappling with higher energy costs and sort of capacity. I saw a few months ago that Volkswagen, largest car manufacturer, they have to shut down factories for the very first time. Of course, the Chinese car industry is the main challenge for car manufacturing these days. So and also are driving Brazil also is instability. Doesn't look that in fact maybe this is what is probably chaos. Big chaos driver because of the situations. Number of things are going to happen over the year. Interestingly enough, there's so much elections. Canada has moved its own pre-elections from September to April. That's very interesting. For me, the current prime minister, the great election, is probably the most cerebral event that we have to globally. The went to the Harvard, the economics, speech in Oxford, worked at Goldman Sachs, Central Bank Governor of Canada, the first non-UK citizen to be Central Bank Governor of Bank of England, and companies. And he will be a formidable challenge to Trump because he knows his way around all the economic issues for Canada to prosper. UK look at elections in May, around the corner, and I think that's going to be an indication of whether or not the Conservative Party are going to be alive after that election. And if they do so poorly, then the time they lose your position, they find a second back to Lagos. No elections in May, G7 something to something for. So this is a busy calendar. So what are the major events that are shaping the outlook of the global economy? Geopolitical tensions that we see every week or every day. It's very interesting because I think the center of the world is moved to the Middle East. So all the peace talks are either in Saudi Arabia or in Qatar. Okay, they seem to be the country that can broker peace talks. This is incredible, because 25, 30 years ago with the PLO and so on and so forth, nobody would go to those countries. So we don't go to New York anymore, or London or Paris for peace talk. We go to Qatar, we go to Riyadh and so on and so forth. And those tensions are increasing because as you see what Trump is saying about Ukraine, in that first of all, that Ukraine can't get land that Russia has taken over back. That's number one. That is your personal view. I mean, I can't imagine a country just giving up part of its own land to another country. And something of course that that US is no longer going to support Europe anymore. No funding anymore for NATO, no funding anymore for any wars in Europe. So you guys have your own, in effect, And then of course when you then add the economic policies, which is creating confusion, tariff adjustments, regulatory frameworks, immigration issues, and so on and so forth. And then of course all of that leads to efficient concerns. And then that would then lead to, of course, supply chain disruptions. Because if you are a manufacturer of an item and you are supplying in a particular fashion, in a particular route to market, and then all of a sudden you have to switch. As you know, even under Biden, the US government banned the importation of EV vehicles from China. So the Chinese companies are now building 2 new EV factories in Saudi Arabia. Building in Saudi Arabia, let's see whether you're not US coming from continent to the US. However, now Trump has said it. 25% tariff on any cars coming to the US, trying to protect his partner, Elon Musk, Tesla. We also have what we call technological disruptions. DeepSeek was a major blow to the AI dominance of the US. And of course, the AI is supposed to drive innovation, shape industries, data privacy issues, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, climate policy and responsibility. This one is an interesting topic because, first of all, Trump has said they're going to exit the whole climate agenda. US. They're not interested. But of course, the biggest country that are causing the climate issue, like China and India, that's using coal to generate electricity, they're not going to stop. So, my view is that we just spend pay service to the whole climate issue discussion. And of course, I don't know which conference it was. I think it was COP27 or so. They said that, which was in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt 2 years ago. There were 800 private jets that landed in 2 weeks. So you can imagine the emissions just in 2 week period. And we want to discuss what climate issues. So policy roadmaps and renewable energy incentives and carbon reduction targets to have lasting effects on sustainability efforts affecting global development trends in clean energy and carbon markets. So what's the outlook for 2025? We continue to give great uncertainty, which is the key thing shaping global economic and financial conditions. Businesses and investors need to navigate shifting geopolitical risks, policy shifts, tech disruptions, and there's certainly a long-term impact of climate policy on global supply chains and market dynamics. I saw an interesting data this morning when a couple of days ago, when BYD first time posted $107 billion revenue in the car industry, the EV car industry, which is now bigger than Tesla. So people are questioning Tesla's valuation of $1 billion. Then look at what called the Global Uncertainty Index, which remains heightened as geopolitical instability, economic policy shifts, and cyber risk continue to shape the global economic landscape. And typically, this is a measure that tracks uncertainty across the globe. And high number means high uncertainty and vice versa. So you can see at the end of the graph there, the graph is going off. And that's since Trump has started signs orders, I think 3 or 4 every week, for example. So it's driving a lot of uncertainty. Let's go to Africa. Some of the data here, I question myself, but it's clear here that East Africa seems to be the key leading driver of economic growth on the continent. Though the growth is not itself, that's significant. We're looking at 5.39% growth last year. Increased investment in infrastructure, hoping to diversify economic base. Small countries like Rwanda is taking the lead in East Africa in the $3 billion airport with the Qataris. Most of that airport is supposed to drive freight, not just passenger traffic. Countries like Kenya, Tanzania, and Ethiopia are benefiting from sector reform as well as improved business environments. West African growth is tainted because of Nigeria in particular, and South Africa also to grapple with energy strategies and policy efficiencies. But then take a look at this table. It's a very, very busy table. But it shows you that there are very few countries in Africa that are growing at more than 5%. At least Cote d'Ivoire, Kenya, Rwanda, just enough. This is like Benin Republic, for example. And so on and so forth. Togo, Tanzania. But the big countries like South Africa and Nigeria are the drag in Africa. Okay, so long as those 2 countries do not grow at 6-7% per annum, then you're going to see much growth across Africa. Another interesting thing happened last year is that in the second half of 2024, many economies which said renewed investor confidence will return to global capital markets. And many countries went back to the bond market. From Cote d'Ivoire, Benin, Kenya, Senegal, all went back to the bond market at various pricing, and of course, different maturities, and of course, different ratings. By the end of last year, the cumulative issuance was about $20 billion of euro bonds. Again, it's easy to raise money, but the challenge is to get the revenue to pay it back. So we saw in Ghana, many people that invested in Ghana government bonds took significant haircuts. Our declined to $17 million to get Ghana government bonds. And so far, it's been a haircut of 17. Maybe the team has left, very sure when and never we get it back. Maybe three grandchildren will do that money back. So what are the key factors that shape the African economy? Exchange rate movements is a big challenge for Africa. African currencies have experienced mixed exchange rate movements and performance over the last 12 to 18 months. Nigeria, of course, Egypt, Morocco, and Angola have all seen experienced currency deposition and instability in recent times due to policy measures changes. Other countries, of course, continue to experience it. But I think the major challenge, of course, is that we have to do business in dollars amongst ourselves. It just doesn't make sense. If I want to buy goods from Kenya, for example, from Naira into dollars and in dollars into shillings, the African Bank has started for PAPS, which is supposed to be a platform that allows countries business to do business in local currency with central banks inside that platform. So like when I'm buying goods from Kenya, for example, I'll just send Naira to the Central Bank of Nigeria, and then the customer over there will get shillings. Now, it's being tested, but it's going to work. It's a challenge. But so long as we have to do currency, business in this currency called dollars, it's a problem. Now, of course, the BRIC economies are trying to move to their own currency, of course, led by China, and that's going to work. Because fiscal challenges and responsibility for many countries face mounting fiscal pressures, and they all have expansionary budgets trying to stimulate economic growth. And of course, within the African region, there must be a large release of excessive external borrowing. As we saw in Ghana, the last 8 years, the external borrowing in Ghana just went up like crazy. That's a country effects. Interest rates are high, inflation is very high, and the country just stagnates for excessive external borrowing. So you have to be very, very careful around what you borrow. Of course, there's issues with security issues and challenges across the continent. They still exist. Political risks still exist as well. Disputes we have seen that DRC and Rwanda, small Rwanda and DRC, they are again, they want to cut to Saudi to go have a peace talk. Let's see whether that will also work. Sudan still having its problems, simply prepared. And then, of course, in many countries across the country, we have parliamentary elections going on. Again, people are calling is democracy really the right model for the country? Because the Asian countries that grew over the years, whether it's China, Singapore, Malaysia, they didn't go back, but they grew. They are their own model of governance. So let's come on to Nigeria. Now, this chart is trying to show the growth trajectory over the last four years, in 2024. GDP size is at 269 trillion at the end of 2024. Strong resilience to 3.84%. After we had any kind of serious growth, was early 2021 at 5%. And since then, we've just been doing further downwards about 2%. And then some in the last couple of quarters, we're rising about 3%. Interestingly enough, there was a budget analysis that was done by KPMG and Arise TV about 2-3 weeks ago. I worked out of it. And the Minister of Finance joined the session at the end of it for Abuja. And he spoke about the fact that the target is 6% growth, which is not what's in the budget target. I'll come to that. But he didn't say, I don't think I heard much about how they intend to achieve 7%. But my own view is that unless we get to growth rates of 7-8% per annum, we're not going to see development where it ought to be in this country. And the reason why, look at China. China grew at 7-8% for 30 years. And economics, if you grow at least 6% per annum for about 10 years, you compounded, double digit. If you got 10% per annum in 6 years, compounded, you double digit. If you got 3% per annum, you compounded, you probably double digit for another 20-25 years. And we can't afford to have that kind of slow growth because we have a large population and we have people who need jobs. GDP growth continues to be driven by agriculture, ICT services, ETC and trade are the three biggest things. Manufacturing is faltering. But one of the interesting things I found with manufacturing in the last few weeks is that many manufacturing companies who were buying foreign exchange in the last couple of years, and the last regime was selling FX on the list of forwards. So what happens is you don't bid for FX. Then there's a forward that will buy the FX probably in about 90 to 180 days. And then your local bank will then give you dollars from your balance sheet to say, okay, finance the raw materials. And then, of course, boom, May 2023 came, and the currency was valued. And you bought some 400 and something, and pay back at almost 1900, now down to 1500. And there are many companies in manufacturing that have significant balance sheets, both multinationals and domestic companies. Multinationals is easy, like Nigerian is a massive price issue. They bring in money, probably take control again. Let's think the same thing as well. We do that. But what about domestic companies? What about that kind of balance sheet? This kind of like the balance sheet. And really and truly now, the real challenge is whether local banks which allow them to either take a haircut, restructure over longer term, lower interest rates, so they can survive. If not, they don't do that, many companies are going to go south. So what are the key factors that are driving shift in outlook in 2025? First of all, I think it's managing the foreign risk external shocks. Those external shocks are quite a number now, especially with all the things that the US is doing. Energy dependence by the US. I mean, for example, Trump has said that shale oil can come back again. Production can come back again. We're going to see China, in Canada and US. Canada supplies foreign barrels a day into the US. That foreign barrels a day probably go to the market, not to the US, which will affect the price. You can see that Brent crude now probably trading about $71 a barrel. I'll show you our budget target is 75, so already below our budget target. And likely that number will go south if things continue to go in the US. And of course, if global economic growth slows down as well, then demand for energy itself tackling restrictions, impact on remittances, for example. And right now, they can tell if you're an immigrant in the US where they track where you send money to from the US. And when they track where you send money from, they can come out and find whether you are supposed to be a legal or illegal immigrant. I didn't know the number that large. There's something like 12 to 13 million, immigrants in the US that are undocumented. But the bulk of them are in the agricultural sector. They're in construction, and then they were in business. But it just not just that has to wash the face and back. You know, these are three very important activities they do in the US. I'm very interested now in this as suffering because these immigrants are having to dodge, but they're heading back to Mexico. Again, driving revenues to generate revenue to fund our budget for 2025 is an interesting distance because our budget this year is a very, very aggressive budget with a massive deficit. I should be numbers in a minute. Stimulating household consumption and investment that makes the inflationary pressures. This stimulation is largely being driven by the tax reforms. And we see the tax reforms have slowed down because the tax reforms, anybody under 800,000 naira pays the tax. See whether or not the tax reforms go to the party. Sustainability of reforms in a complex environment, ongoing fiscal and monetary, trade and industry reforms, trying stability, that's something are key for driving growth, and then achieving a stable, effective environment. Again, the blow of backless in the university, it's not good news. Chance, there are 54 hours of blow up on the 24 hours flash sheet. You go and talk again, then that means a shipment of the people. Now let's look at the government budget. Like I said, it's a very, very aggressive budget. It's a 4.9 trillion expenditure, 36.6% growth on prior year. Revenue of 41.9 trillion, 24% prior year, and a deficit of 13.8 trillion, 42% increase in the budget. And you want to finance it through domestic and foreign borrowings. Provision proceeds. I don't know when I saw any competition last 5 or 10 years. Drawdowns on existing multilateral and bilateral loans. So I think those two bullet points, domestic and foreign borrowings as well as drawdowns, I think the bulk of handling the finance the deficit. And what do we use money to do? CapEx is 23.96 trillion. It's a big number. Recurrent expenditure, non-debt, 30.64. Debt service is bigger than non-recurrent. Now, for CapEx are only funded if you can finance the budget. If you take out the budget from CapEx, you only have about 10 trillion from CapEx. And what are the assumptions? Oil price of $5 per barrel. Already today, you have reduced $5 per barrel. And what's the trajectory? Not likely to go above $5 this year. Exchange rate 1,400. We are probably hovering around 1,500. And as the exchange rate continues to depreciate, sorry, as oil price continues to go south, the exchange rate will depreciate. Forward, which is why they can supply the refineries and sell the refineries in naira. If I don't have crude in naira, then I can sell my petrol. I can sell petrol in naira, but in dollars. So again, that whole system of petrol pricing, crude in dollars, petrol in dollars, linked to exchange rates means that petrol prices are going to keep on going up. And then one portion of 2 million barrels a day. Again, challenging as well. The problem in rivers will affect production in the rivers and Bayelsa, but I understand that the biggest area of production is Akwa Ibom. Seeing the point, that we have crude and condensate. That's Akwa Ibom is the biggest producer in the country today. And the inflation rate of 75%. Again, we'll come back to that. I can't see how that's going to be achieved. Just to see. So why are we going to expect expansionary budgets, which will further accelerate growth in the short term? The wider deficit financing as well as higher debt stop to have billions of excellent stability. Which actually that increase in public deficit spending cause exchange rates to deteriorate on one hand, as it was further relating inflation pressures. This is apart from the tendency to crowd domestic investments as well as constrain government spending and push the economy deeper to the brink of debt distress risks. Okay, so that's the key thing. The money you take on and you crowd out the private sector money. For example, that drives how the impact of the exchange rate, how the impact of the inflation, and then how the impact of the general activity of the economy as a whole. So not fantastic news. However, if these numbers are achieved and exceeded, then it's good for the economy. Because what we're trying to do here is we're trying to drive the growth of the economy. by increased government spending. Okay, now government spending is not always sufficient, but at least it's a push. And then what happens when it pushes the spending, especially spending on the infrastructure, then hopefully it will drive it. Okay, so it can be done. I'm sure some of my colleagues who will speak better on this topic will give them perspective. Now, I think reconciling next slide, it said every target is less than 35%. So again, I couldn't get the guys to respond to give that reconciliation. So the biggest issue there was that FRS, customs, and NNPC are critical in achieving our revenue targets. NNPC has contributions flat. You are expected no reduction in revenue pages. As well as kind so much that could go forward. FRS generated 12.6 trillion last year, surpassing the 10.4 trillion. And then therefore this year's target is 25 trillion. My suspicion here is my place is the back of here is that because FRS collects PPT, the job of tax, and the all companies pay for the job of tax dollars. Now, if you're paying PPT at 400 to 1, it's a different number from where you're paying PPT at 1,500 or 1,800 to 1. So my suspicion is that the bulk of that increase is from the job office tax. No, it's an increase on the currency valuation. Customs is the direct target of tax trillion, over the intake of 1 trillion. Due to reform the border control and tariff collection, so it's there. And the target in the 12 trillion target for 2025. This budget is looking to 51.99 trillion, demonstrates the commitment to economic transformation. However, 33% of debt service, that is the share of the budget. Okay, indicating significant financial burden. Correct. CapEx 3%. It's significant capital allocation, significant government intends to stimulate economic growth through infra development. Jobs like power, works, agri, ready to create jobs and attract private investment. 20% of the economic expenditure and 9% of subsidy transfers. So some people say that we need our own and a market like to cut the cost of the spending. Even the UK government say that we're going to cut headcounts in civil service in the next 3 to 5 years. How are we spending our plan to spend our money? Biggest spend is supposed to be on security and defense. 6.21 trillion. It's 11.29% of the budget. Infrastructure is supposed to be 5.67 trillion, it's 10.22%, and housing, power, transport, etc. Education is supposed to be the next biggest item, 3.59 trillion. 3.52%. Health, it's the largest health project ever. It's 2.38 trillion. It's about 4.3% of the budget. Then you have agricultural, food security, and livestock, 4.1%, 2.27 trillion. And then you have technology, a very large amount to be spent as well. And then the top end is budget of Ministry of Nigerian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. So, on paper, it seems to be the right kind of direction to try and get the economy moving and to transform the economy. But I know the reality is that when it comes to actually execution of government spending, it's always a challenge. Always a challenge. And I haven't seen government spending infrastructure, ever meet the target of the never said. Sometimes it meets the target of 40%, 50%. The different government is probably one of the best when it achieves 78% of the target of spending on infrastructure. Then there's this Nigeria tax bill, which is probably the most comprehensive tax reform we've had for a long time. Okay, positive in some respects. You can avoid, the area of VAT. They're even planning VAT increases over the next few years, not just today's increase. So 10% proposed for this year, 12.5% by 2029, 15%. And this is because if you look across the continent of Africa, we are one of the lowest VAT rates across Africa. I think South Africa has a VAT of 14%. That's one of maybe 70, 80%. Input VAT for the first time can be recovered. There will be VAT reforms, there will be new VAT system using electronic invoicing. There will be VAT on, no VAT on things like food, education, healthcare, and then zero VAT on exports. So good plans. Again, overall, the stack is also very good in terms of small companies, pay 0% tax. You have a turnover of less than 50 million, after 50 million, and I'm sure many of these companies don't pay tax anyway, so they're just formalizing it. That's companies is coming down to 27.5%, and then hopefully come down to 25%. Okay, but since I look at number 3, it states introducing an ETR for 50% for large companies with a turnover of 20 billion or more. So I can't reconcile the fact that you're saying you don't have to money, but you have the tax rate of 50%. We don't have 100% of exports fully exempt. So you're going to change the whole export zone tax regime. If you do 25%, you have to do 25% export for it to be taxed. Or if you do 25% sales to go into the territory, to be fully taxed. But some companies do go into the profit zones now manufacture that don't have to export. They bring it back home to Nigeria, and then I know getting taxes. And now the whole financial regime change what they call a priority sector. And then of course the relief for taxation. So again, like I said, for the first time, we have corporate tax reforms, which is good. It is good in a sense. At the end of the day, it's all about how we implement it. No, zero taxes. I'm sure there are many people in Nigeria who don't end up doing what they need to do. You don't pay taxes today, most likely. No, in many places. All the levies that have to pay as taxes, corporate taxes, are now being put into one levy called government levy. Because they're sending their PTL. Who knows what PTL is? No, that's not very good. Police trust fund. Police trust fund, I think it's 0.5%. That one's supposed to fund the police.
Yeah.
And we corporate players are supposed to pay for that. Stamp duties, excise tax, the excise tax on gambling and gaming and foreign exchange transactions in the black market and telecom. So I want to see how they're going to do this tax on foreign exchange transactions in the black market. Black market is not the market that you don't see. It's not bigger. So how are you going to do excise duties on black market? Interesting. And all that, of course, hopefully less burdensome taxes for business restructuring and regulation. And the capital gains tax on shares of 150 million proceeds, number than 10 million gain in 12 months. So somebody's going to sit down and making those gains for 12 months. Interesting. But I think it's good. For the first time, we're thinking through tax reforms, and if we get it right, these tax reforms can also be good from a fiscal perspective. However, I think that if you look at this area, where you see that the personal income taxes are coming down, that means that ITR for the states is coming down. Okay. However, VAT is going up, and the share of VAT to state governments is going up as well. So it's a kind of a balance situation. Stimulating housing consumption against inflation pressures, because the NBS changed the basis for capital inflation. This year, it's also now we've done replace 2024 for the new CPI bring up the market responsibilities have changed. Food inflation, has also been slashed this year. National level as well and different drivers. Hopefully, and in this way, all these changes now is brought inflation down. So inflation has come down because the market has changed and the political behavior has changed. Not because monetary policy is really working yet, but because monetary policy is always a lie. Okay, so you put up an NPR, but there's a lag before the other system. So hopefully, if the NPR begins to sit there, it's changing basket. Maybe it's going to come down any further. But I don't think it'll come down less than 20% in 2025. FX environment, achievement, stable environment has always been a challenge. Major FX driver has always been crude sales. So still supply and demand, will always affect the risk itself. I think what businesses are looking for is stability in the rates, not just a matter of whether or not the rate is the capital number, but if it's stable at 1,500, we can plan even better. As opposed to moving between 1,500 to 900 and about 1,200. So good liquidity in the market you're seeing it now. It's happening. We're going to have to stay challenge. Some of the Eurobond issue. Recent, the $2.2 billion issue that was successful. And it increased transparency and price discovery support of the persons, the value naira. improvements in the just current account position. So we had a current account surplus of $8.5 billion just after 2024, and $1.13 billion same period. And hopefully investor confidence to reduce us from capital flights. How much the Trump immigration factors will affect that foreign intensive, I don't know. So what's happening for the economy? So we still, we're trying to see, get a bounce to the economy, similar to what happened in the first decade of the century. You know, in 2000 and 2011, we saw growth rates like growing between 5.5% as high as 14%, and then over around 6% up until about 2013, about 2014. But we had a first recession when Buhari became president, and then the second recession as well during his time. Okay. And they were trying to rebound again. So the period of 2000 and 2011 was a fairly robust period, good forecast and prediction of where the economy was going. If this rate had continued to rise through, the economy would be totally different state today. But of course, most of that restriction was around the oil price reduction, for example. Trade reforms also periods. Some have been good, some have been mixed. You know, ICT sector and business reduction, pension reform, banking sector. Unbundling of NEPA, power reform, still a big problem. Petrol industry bill, 2010 and passed actually in 2022, I think, or 2023. You know, mixed data so far. So, what do you see happening? You know, all these forms of talking about fiscal policy, you know, the biggest thing of course was the removal. You know, I hope that that's been hopefully the driving one more revenue for government as well as the government. You know, it's tax reforms, hopefully, and then all the various finance amendments as well as the issue of domestic government and bonds. So there's work going on, like by the fiscal space, but there's still more to be done. Okay? Monetary policy as well. There's work going on in the monetary policy area, for example, and foreign policy. I'm not going to read through every single I think time to run down. But that's what is on my neck. But I think at the end of the day, that government is working on a number of areas. There's still things that need to be done for us to be able to drive the economy forward. The area of business facilitation, better business, we need to. One of the ideas we always had to say the joint venture agreements in the oil industry have been a challenge for the country. Each time we need to put up our own cash stock, that's been a strain on government resources. And it's always happened that many partners fund our share of the cash stock. And then what that happens is that when we then sell the crude, we have to pay back what we funded. So my understanding is that most of these forward sales are done to realize cash to pay back JV obligations. Most of the JVs now are being moved into Nigerian ownership. You know, by some of the onshore activities to get back. SPDC onshore going to the next as well now. Good to see whether or not the Nigerian partners have the balance to fund the government share of the JV cash flow. And one of the things that we have in PIB is let's move to incorporate JVs. So we have corporate JVs, they don't have the cash flow. Right? What is the government state is doing? Royalties and corporate tax, PPT and royalties. And then dividends, just like we have the energy. So the energy model is an corporate JV. It's no cash flow. Once we do the expansion, we go to market to raise money. So 27 now is the market to raise money. Challenge is energy right now today suffering from lack of gas because the pipelines are being attacked. Household welfare, you know, it's also something that no programs, for example, conditional cash transfers, minimum wage review, market scheme. So there are many things that government is doing to try and how we can improve the economy. So, what's my forecast? Typical good forecast of really between 3.6% to 4.5%. Still not great, but I've always been an advocate of seeing 7-8% growth for this economy. It can be done. Issues how and sustainability. And then of course, based on the ongoing reform, we for the oil sector. One of the things that we're hoping the refinery will do for us, that the refinery will help us reduce or eliminate imports of petrol. The large chunk of the excess that we generate from scale of crude used to import petrol. Now, if you're a refinery and you do it domestically, then you don't need to import stuff. And by doing so, that warrants the level of savings that we can use for something that's supposed to support the product. But the problem with that, the inflation rate started to decline to like 20% in 2025 and further by 60% in 2026. Driven by tight conservative policy and hopefully less pressure from coalition due to the action of global monetary policy. Hopefully. Naira should be trading with anything between 300 and 1700 per dollar in 2025 and hovering around foreign market rates. That's my own outlook. Thank you for listening.
A lot of applause for Mr. Philip. So we are going to move to panel session because of our time. I promise our panelists that we are not going to take points of their time. So I'm going to invite them one by one so that the time is 9:35, so we have 5 minutes behind schedule. So I will start with my senior. He has refused to stop calling me sir, boss. I told him I'm not comfortable with it. What will I do? I said no. So I'll start from Dr. Louis Salami. Please, okay, so I would also like to see next week. Yeah. I would like to also bring to the front the chairman and CEO of Pusher, Mr. Femi Awe, FCA. Okay. The first lady of FinTech in Africa, the country manager and cluster head Mastercard, in person of Mrs. Olachade in our FCA. Bipolar FFN. So, my very good friend, his senior colleague, of course, the council member of ICANN, the treasurer of ICANN, what winning CFO, Dr. Oluseyi Olariba, PhD SC. He's not an program, but Academy, but okay. You're welcome. I know Mr. Akipatika is here. Mr. Akipatika, we are welcome, sir. Thank you.
Evolution.
Yeah. You go be very happy. You go be very happy.
I thought it was a beer.
You go be very happy. You are welcome. Because my partner, Paul later, is also Banks Academy. So it's okay, no problem. We'll see a way we can do it. Of course, we will always happy. Okay, so I would like to just sit down, please. Okay. I think I'm going to need your help. For the person that whoever I was speaking for the online.
Yeah.
Mike.
Can't do that.
I have that. Okay.
Yeah, back in the audience.
Okay. That is okay. I'm not ready. That is okay. Is it okay? Okay. So, my seniors, you're welcome, sir. We have seen the paper, and of course, very wonderful view that was shared by Mr. Kule. We have very limited time, and I want to try as much as possible to stay within that time. I'm going to start with Dr. Louis Salami. You cannot call me sir, you cannot call me boss. You use that on me on WhatsApp. So Don't do that, sir. So I'm going to start with you. Of course, we know what you have done during President Muhammadu Buhari as the chairman of the committee, trying to ensure that he put things in place for the president. And we've seen what in Okunlele will also discuss relating to fiscal policy and also monetary policy. For a layman economist, fiscal policy, more like there are tools that are used by the government to control the economy in terms of government expenditure and of course taxation. Explain more that. Of course, the monetary policy rests with the CPN in terms of the money supply and treasury. Now, what are the prospects of the fiscal and monetary policy of this current administration, in achieving a better level of economic growth and development in 2025?
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for the invitation. There are probably 3 or 4 points. The first, and I think our senior here has made that point, is that this economy needs to, in my view, at a minimum of 2x population. That we don't know what the population is, but at a minimum 2x population. So if you assume population is growing at 2.5, then at a very minimum 2x. Now, in 1990, Nigeria was bigger than China. Today, Nigeria is 20%, China per capita 35, 40 years. And therefore, if you're going to do that, there's going to have to be a change on the fiscal side. And let's be very clear. People don't want the government to borrow. People don't want to pay taxes. So how do you want to fund fiscal policy? When you look at the fiscal numbers and you do a division to a per capita basis, in other words, total size and fiscal numbers that the presentation presents are actually only half, because the states are not included in this. They spend, they tax. So now, but by the time you look at everything put together, Nigeria is one of the lowest spending per capita countries in the world, especially when you dollarize it. And so if you're going to raise fiscal policy, yes, you need fiscal policy to push. But my view is that there are 2 threats immediately. First, oil prices. Drill, baby, drill, as the Americans say. So oil prices will fall. And that is going to encumber fiscal policy in Nigeria. There's no loans to that. What Nigeria, in my view, in fiscal terms, needs to is to be able to encourage the private sector to begin to close the gaps that the fiscus is not going to be able to close. The government, in my view, has to decide what are those human capital development needs that the country has? What are those security needs that the country has? We each should face. But what are those other needs, infrastructure and life, which the country needs, but with the private sector? Have not ultimately been successful. Privatization of power has not been successful. Nigeria is on a basis, any basis, it's 1 million, the benchmark, 1 million people is 1 gigawatt of power. So if you say Nigeria is 170 million persons, 170 gigawatts of power is what you need. What we have is less than 6. So since the power reforms I think it started in 2002, and the act was, I think, 2012, that's 2005, thank you. But we are still roughly where we were then. So it has not ultimately, the only real big success has been telecoms. And so, as long as that is the case, this economy ain't going anywhere fast. And so you're going to have to decide, what should the government fund and hopefully do well? What should the private sector do and hopefully do well? What incentives are you going to put on the table to enable that? Without that conversation, being meaningfully had by the Nigerian elite and concluded, we're not going anywhere. We're just going to be passing down at 3-4%. By the way, 3-4% is Nigeria's stagnation rate. So because at the heart of it is at 3-4%, you're going at about the same of that population industry. So that's the first piece. The second piece on the fiscal side is really very simple. The devaluation that has happened has not actually reflected in the revenues collected by them. All you need to do is just dollarize all the numbers. You know, when the revenue is growing by this, by that, just dollarize the numbers. They are not yet back to our pre-devaluation fiscal numbers in dollars. And it's a very difficult thing to do because it means you're going to have to squeeze money out of the economy. And if you're not going to squeeze money out of the economy, then you're going to have to allow the private sector to provide capital that's necessary. And guess what? Nigerians, at least if you read the media, are jumping up and down about privatization. And they say they want to sell oil. They say they're selling it to themselves. They say they want to. There is a conversation that needs to be had around transparency in government. So let me leave the fiscal stuff on that side. But in terms of what you should expect is that, forgive me, government's going to have to raise more money. Any which way it does, it's going to have to raise more money. Whether it's going to have to raise taxes or expand the tax net, we'll have to do that. I haven't seen the numbers from the Fiscal Reform Committee on the projections of the impact of those reforms on the total size of the fiscal space. That's the biggest missing piece for me, able to say that reform is or correct. Now, on the monetary side, ladies and gentlemen, please understand it for me. Inflation is bad for the economy. And unless we bring inflation down, and by the way, there's something called the inflation threshold. For Nigeria, high inflation threshold is between 10 and 15%. In other words, any inflation that exceeds 15% is actually detrimental to growth in the economy. So we're going to have to bring it down. There are only two ways that you bring inflation down anywhere in the world, doesn't matter big or small economy. Either you increase supply, or you reduce demand, or you combine both. Now, to increase supply, there's a lag. Even if you say you want to start investing today, there's a lag before the outcomes show up. And so, and that's why you find that in many countries, the first thing is to trim back demand and hope that the supply push will then eventually enable demand to recover. Right now, again, we're still perambulating, and the environment is too tight, and therefore interest rates should be brought down. And my own question to everybody is, okay, so how do you want to break down inflation? The government, on the one hand, is creating a budget deficit, which is essentially expansionary to the economy, and yet wants inflation to come down. Sorry, something's going to have to give. You see, Nigeria has to understand she must behave as a public. It's not about wishful thinking. But there's a big question that the monetary side, and most of us are going to have to answer, and which we are reluctant to answer. What is the role of foreign exchange in our development? All of us here, because we have foreign currency yields, want a strong currency. But guess what? A strong currency means you will import more because it's cheaper to import. You will undermine the domestic production base. In the meantime, we don't want a devaluation of the currency because it's more expensive, blah, blah, blah. And then people say to me, but what do we have to our exports anyway? So why shouldn't we just appreciate the currency? But ladies and gentlemen, forgive me. I just explained an ostrich game that she will regret. Go and look at Nigeria's exchange rate. I wish that our senior's presentation had that graph. This is how it goes. Horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical. So what does that mean? You hold the exchange rate until you can't, and then you drop it. Then it goes up. Then you hold it again until you can't hold it again, and then you drop it. That creates a huge level of uncertainty. With that uncertainty, you're not going to get the kind of investment that you need. And if you're not getting investment, you're not going to be able to export, produce what is globally export competitive. So just one moment. It's important to please understand that Nigeria has some fundamental choices that she has to make within the next 2 years, in my view, or else it's going to lose another major window that is being defined by the African Continental Free Trade Area. We refuse to do what needs to be done, then continue to struggle.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Dr. Louis Salami was the chairman of Economic Advisory Council considered by the President Muhammadu Buhari. I have not expecting anything there. That's very fantastic. It's just that I have little time. So, yeah, you are the next. My next question is to Mr. Olufemi Awoyemi. Now, we have seen from the slide from the list speaker, the tax reforms. You know, we've seen quite a lot of prospects, we've seen quite a lot of things that are coming on. Now, the Nigerian tax system is undergoing its biggest shake-up in the years. There's no doubt about that. With policy designs to boost revenue, improve compliance, and also drive economic growth. But will these reforms unlock prosperity or create new challenges for businesses and individuals? I believe you can please begin to Mr.
I'll just refer everyone to Second Liberty's presentation.
Yeah.
He has covered everything. If that's short enough. Let me first situate the questions this way. And I'm going to piggyback on the fact that the Salami gave some context.
Yes.
Don't forget that the years the Salami was there happens to be the DPS as well, which therefore makes it a much more bigger issue if he's come this way. I, however, have a strong belief that if I repeat in terms of up to what is doing. You know the tax laws in Nigeria are older than Nigeria. And so what you really see here is actually fiscal restructuring in a way. It is a, I think I can say some few things here. It is in a way a smart way of going about restructuring that actually calling it restructuring. And people did not pay attention, at least the political elite did pay attention. That was why they did not understand the simple basis between consumption metric and headquarters metric. It wasn't that they were not smart enough, but they understood that this was a quasi-political. If you understand the whole concept of taxation here, as of today, the whole ideology has changed. So taxation is actually meant to drive productivity. But the tax laws we had were sanction-based. This is the first time we are trying to use incentive-based taxation. Let me circle back to the real substance there. The missing ideological concept about governance, the government approach, the entire dealing community has seemingly found a way to try to tie the whole government how to work together through tax regime. A careful examination of all the areas covered seem to address it. The biggest concern you find will be around inefficiencies and now those two things basically deliver waste, abuse, and fraud. Now, these whole things are attempted. One of the only areas where I think the concern may be the fact that how do you dislodge non-state actors from the tax regime of the economy? The most significant problem has been the role of non-state actors, whereby they also have some form of quasi-legitimacy in collecting taxes across the whole system. The use of your professionals like yourself, use of tax collectors, quote unquote. It wouldn't make sense. So, in a way, if we're able to pass this tax reform bill, I think it's the first foundational step towards how you reimagine the Nigerian economy. I'm so grateful.
Thank you, bro. Thank you so much. Thank you. Mr. Femi Awuyemi is the founder and also chairman of Pushare Nigeria. Now, I'll move to the only lady among the panelists. FFM, we call her FFM, Folasade Femi. Now, we want to go to the banking industry. There is no economy that want to talk about growth and development without proper banking system. Very, very important. Now, my question is, what is your view on the Nigerian economic outlook in 2025 as it relates to banking and fintech industry in Nigeria? Any positive trends? Any hope?
Right. So the reason why I'm the only lady on the panel in the midst of this gentlemen is I'm here to spread positive vibes. And so we are software, we add colors to life. And it's such an honor to be seated here to see three of my managers from Coopers and Library.
Wow.
Mr. King Fatsuke, Fumi Onofowoko, Yemali Bayo just strolled in, he's right at the back. It's such a joy that this is what Bobby College boys have put together. So, and I've listened to the experts in the room, starting from Mr. Elipute, Professor Salami, as I call him, and just going to drop some label, Mr. Oyemi. It's important for us to also look at it from the angle of where MasterCard sits. So the MasterCard Economic Institute, about 3 weeks ago, we gathered in London, and what they came up with, I was excited. And I refuse that to be, I refuse my hope to be busted based on what I have had here this morning. Is that Nigeria's economy is one, the outlook is one of transformation, which is driven by, a thriving fintech ecosystem. We all agree that Nigeria is home to some of the world's fastest growing economies when it comes to fintech. Now, whether the regulation is taking cognizance of that, it's a totally different ballgame. And we've seen a lot of growth in the areas of open banking, AI lending, and we also see mobile technology. What is driving that? We're seeing rapid internet penetration. We're also seeing more of financial inclusion by all the activities going on within the ecosystem. As a Nigerian, that's how proudly wore this flag this morning instead of MasterCard's tag is we are losing sight of the opportunity that sits within us. We still don't have a regulation that is speaking to AI. What is happening there?
Yeah.
If one of the posts we got yesterday from MasterCard was, as if you knew I was coming here, was the digital transactions in Africa is going to reach about $1.5 trillion come 2030. And a lot of that is alluded to Nigeria, especially West Africa, where I sit. And we keep talking about the need for us to grow. And we have the SMEs and MSMEs also looking for funding. Some start and they stop halfway because they can't even access funding. Some will be asked to go and bring their great-grandfather's birth certificate or marriage certificate. And we still have the women that are also driving the economy. So I'm here representing the women folk because there's a lot packed in there. The experts can tell us about what is not working, but I rather create that hope for us that the future is bright if we make it work. We really need to make it work. And how do we make that happen? Are we taking advantage of the opportunity provided for financial inclusion for underserved communities, which is what open banking has created? Nigeria's open banking is expected to grow the CAGR by 12.5% between 2023 and 2028. Generative AI globally is going to add about 20 trillion to the economy. How is Nigeria playing in that? We talked about kicking against cryptocurrency or not. Nigerians top the charts in participation in cryptocurrency. Are we shutting our eyes to the opportunity that will expand our economy? All I've seen there, ICT, we're barely touching ICT really, because the regulation does not even understand the kind of gold mine we are sitting on. How do we unlock that so as an organization, as an institution, as a country? And that's a question to all of us. We have our children, we have family members that are doing great in those areas that are called blind spots for Nigeria. How do we unlock that? And that's just some of us coming. AFDB, they've done this partnership with MasterCard, where they're going to empower 3 million farmers.
That's African Development Bank.
African Development Bank, yes. 3 million Nigerian farmers with about $300 million. That money they pulled out of America before Trump economics kick in. We are going to give them digital identities for them to secure lending. We also have those cards that we partner with Adobe. That's the first ever credit building card that allow you to build a credit history that some of our SMEs they struggle to have access to. I'm not here to market, but just to create that.
Yeah.
There's a future that is bright for Nigeria.
Yeah.
Economic outlook is that of transformation, and we will drive it from the digital angle. If only the regulation and infrastructure will support that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. There are a lot of that's why you need to have positive vibes, you need to have them around us. As you have said, software. So Fola Sade is the country manager, Laura Foster for MasterCard. Now, I want to now go to telecom sector. There was something that was profoundly said by Dr. Salami that one of the most successful sector we have in Nigeria is telecom. I remember growing up, you have to queue. Or probably sometimes you have to go to the next street to receive call. But now, you can receive call anywhere we have. Today, that's the success of the telecom sector. Dr. Shea Olarewale, of course, I know quite a lot of things you have done in telecom sector. Yeah. Massive one. I can, even outside I can. The telecom sector contributed 14.4% to the GDP of Nigeria in 2024. And of course, there's a 50% tariff increase, approved by NCC after several fighting and there, quite a lot of things, But what will be the effects of this new tariff on businesses and individuals in 2025? Having in mind that the leader of the team, MTN, for the first time in their balance sheet, the liability was more than assets. Now there's a new tariff approved. Because they are doing tariff now. What will be the effect of that tariff on businesses and also individuals in 2025?
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Before I answer your question, let me give some background. As we all know, telecom services has become almost a basic need of everyone. In fact, I was hoping that somebody will upgrade Maslow hierarchy of needs, say part of psychology. Because of you go to offices, connectivity is like there's no more time. Because everything is now driven by internet.
Yeah.
So, having said that, I'm looking at what has happened. I see that the telecoms company have been complaining about the tariff. That the tariff they are currently charging is not cost reflective. As a result, they are not able to do much more. And I also know that the majority of us are saying that network at times are going up and down.
Yeah.
It was because they are complaining that what they are charging is not able to maintain the quality service and all that. Yeah. So eventually, we have the increase after back and forth. I think they are even proposing something close to 100%, but even 50%. So the question is, what are the implications?
Sorry to also say for 40 minutes. I think there's a complaint from online that they want to hear you more.
Oh, okay,
Because
sorry.
who are interested in telecom sector. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Is it better now?
Yeah. Okay.
So I was saying they've now increased it. So what is the implication to businesses and individuals? So let me start with businesses. Number one, it's just going to be increased to cost. They're saying things are high. What has happened now is that if you're using say 5 meg or 10 meg, the cost of doing that has gone up by 50 So if you don't quickly look at your pricing,
Yeah.
in some offices, depending on the business you do,
Yeah.
it may lead to reduced profits, reduced bottom line. So what we see immediately is that some customers will also pass it on. Some company will pass it on to their customers instantly. To mean that the final consumer will eventually pay the brunt of this. Then looking at individuals is the issue of affordability. Somebody has been buying, say, 200 naira data before, now you've increased it, So affordability will be a major issue. And some of these customers are very sensitive to pricing. So what I also see is that it's going to drive more competition in the telecom space. Every drop make you not charge a particular network this month and you charge another one because you hear that there is promo and all that. So it's going to be that eventually. Then on the part of the telecoms, if they don't have this tariff, we'll see that the quality of service they will be giving drop drastically. And what will happen is that even these consumer businesses, they won't have value for their money. You can imagine having a business call or a meeting with some of your partners and your internet is going up and down. You're in a board meeting. You can see what implication that will be on the business. In rounding up, I think that if this committee on fiscal policy were to do well, I'm talking personally now, I think they should have considered telecom goods and services as part of their basic needs, and as such, probably take some tax of it so that this individual can have it more affordable.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. A round of applause for Dr. Shea. Dr. Shea, you are the Group Chief Finance Officer of Secure ID Limited. Thank you very much. I would like to just do one more round. I'll go back to Dr. Duri Salam. Sorry, please, we might need to mute our phone or it's on silent. Sorry, my senior, Dr. Duri Salam, we have very limited time. I want to believe we can do this in 1 minute. I cannot instruct my senior, but we can do it in 1 minute because of time. Now, what's my question? What should business organizations, business owners, individuals do to get prepared for the economic policy of the current administration? What are the things we need to do as a business owner, as individuals? What should we do? Some of us cannot jump like me. I know that there's prospect. I won't jump up.
Well, I think the first thing is to bear in mind that this government is much more private sector oriented. And so that's therefore an improvement of private sector, I think, much better. The enablement of the private sector would therefore be much better. Now, beyond that, so what should companies be looking at? And I think there are probably 3 things that I would put on the table very quickly. The first is that, and I leverage Folashade's comment about innovation, because as things are now, you're going to have to understand the changes, innovations that are necessary. The second, please go and understand how Nigerians are spending money. There is a new consumer price index basket, and believe me, it is fundamentally different from the old one. Food, Nigeria is moving away from a subsistence economy in a direction where it will end, we don't yet know. Simple example. In the last basket, food was 51% of the basket size. In the current basket, food is 40.8% of the basket size. And there are a couple of, in fact, the other big one that has changed is accommodation and accommodation and restaurant services has gone up from 1%, 1.2% to 12%. So it means fundamental changes are happening in this economy, and you need to understand. The third is that there are opportunities outside Nigeria. The PAPIS was referred to earlier. In my book, the Continental Free Trade Area Agreement is the following stages. How do we pay ourselves? That's where the investment's gone so far. The next level is, if I pay you, can you send the goods to me? Which means logistics is the next big game that's going to happen. The third game is going to be, how do we move people around? So the movement of people is going to be the third game, and the last game is then going to be who produces and where do you produce. So you need to understand in my book those three domains. There are other things, but since I've given 1 minute, I hope that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please, there are other people for the time. Thank you very much. I'll move to Mr. Olufemi Aoyemi. Still on tax. There have been talks here and there on tax, and I know there are business owners that are here that are concerned about the reform. The first time in Nigeria, we are able getting it better in terms of the tax system. So the new tax law are currently in the process of approval. I think the rest are already approved to probably move forward. So as a business owner and as an individual, what are the things I should put in place in order not for the new tax laws not to have negative effects on my business or my personal income? Let me put it another way. How does new tax reform affect the price of garri?
Excellent question. Some of us people know the answers, honestly, we reach ourselves. But here's a few things. If you took a look at the consumers, okay.
I think there's somebody that needs to mute. You can just mute everybody, please. Mute everyone so that we are going to
It tallies with what Dr. Solani was saying.
Okay.
And it's important that for every business, pay attention to something. We did a simulation of the rebate ourselves, even for but and so we probably understand fully well that there are 46 sectors in this Nigeria's economy. We've managed to reduce them to about 14 sub-economies. Now pay attention to the whole idea of sub-economies. All the figures and changes you see are coming because what you call this changing dynamics in sub-economies. We have the data approach here, which takes each decade. If you look at all the companies, more like a mix of the companies, each of those decades, you will not recognize any of the map across Nigeria. The companies you see today, totally different. And the sectors where they are, totally different. The companies you see 10 years from now, totally different. Now, what therefore happens is that if you want to really understand the tax law, I use the word incentives. There are quite a number of incentives there. For example, people like McKill, Mia Baker, whatever, will benefit from exemptions on pharmaceutical raw materials. And people are very creative. Everything becomes raw materials now. And there are also quite a number of incentives inside this particular that you as a business must pay attention to. So the first thing you have to do, just as you are close to your pastor, you are close to your doctor, you should be close to your tax collector.
Thank you very much.
At this time, and it should be close to them. The second thing that will happen significantly is that there are some gray areas around treatment of VAT withholding tax. Some businesses where if you're involved in collaboration, you be better. And the law seems a bit confused as to how to treat it so that we don't have cash flowing out from both sides. There's also the other issue about intellectual property. I know Bangwe just recently put out something on that. That is the one area we're not looking at, which is very critical in business. The future we look at means that intellectual property becomes critical to trademarks, IP. And those have become a significant portion inside your balance sheet as well nowadays. And people are not paying attention to that. Again, this rule, the law gives you certain rules in here to maneuver and get it. At least we get to the stage. And perhaps the last thing that you should take care of is that be careful of what you pray for, because you will get it. What it means is that there will be some level of efficiency that will be delivered, and some of us in this room will be some of the guinea pigs that will be used. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Olufemi Aoyemi. Thank you for that expansion. What I'm thinking there is that for business owners and for individuals, for the tax fund that is coming, be closer to your tax consultant. Don't worry, we are here to help you. Okay, I'll move to FFM. Now, I could see the concept of your response the other time. Very positive. Looking at digital platform, looking at you mentioned Mastercard, this and that. Now, my question is, as a country manager, you've been there for over a year now, and so how is Mastercard shaping payments and driving financial inclusion in Nigeria and West Africa? Having in mind that financial inclusion have been things that CBN have been trying to achieve over the years. Dr. Sheyi will attest to it. You might get to a village, you might not see a bank, but they will be using phone. Their phones are there. So CBN trying to use the bank of telecom to take banking to people. So in Mastercard, how we shaping payments, how we be driving financial inclusion in Nigeria and also in West Africa?
Thank you very much. As they say in Nigeria Palace, show workings. And in God we trust. Every other person, they should know their data. So, and we have the data. So as Mastercard, we are going to deliver that through 3 pillars. We want to expand financial access, which is what we all need in Nigeria and West Africa as a whole. We want to foster innovation and also drive inclusion. How are we doing that? I know Dr. Sheyi spoke about the telecoms. So we recognize the fact that it's not everyone that is going to have a smartphone. It's not everyone that is going to have access to those smart tech, digitalization accessories. So we partner with MTN Group to enable millions of Nigerians to be able to transact from their mobile wallets. So your phone serves as your agent banking terminal, serves as your bank. We don't have to have a bank account. They can actually transact from their mobile wallet. And you know, with MTN, they have a huge server of that.
Yeah.
That also, as that Monday I had a meeting with the leadership of Airtel. We're replicating the same thing with Airtel.
Yeah.
Apologies to the banks. We work across the ecosystem, payment ecosystem. Yeah. We want to drive inclusion at all levels. We don't want anyone to be left behind. We've also partnered with some of our banks. Access Bank Group, with MasterLink, you can have cross-border transactions in a seamless way. The era of waiting for sweet gibberish communication after you must have sent some huge amount of money through a correspondence bank. That takes some days when I was at a bank. But now with Access Africa partnership with MasterCard, you can actually send cross-border transactions seamless in an affordable and transparent way to over 150 countries globally. With Fidelity Send, you can talk to Nigeria. With Fidelity Send, you can do international money transfers to over 60 countries. That is licensed last year. We also have the acceptance for tap on phone, QR pay by link. We are making it easy for MSMEs, especially women entrepreneurs that cannot afford the cost of a bank POS. They can accept payments via their phones. Your phone that you're carrying to take WhatsApp and do all sorts can actually serve as an acceptance terminal. That's what MasterCard is doing across Africa, not just, but we have a lot of global first. A global first is Nigeria Card. You're going to be seeing that in the papers from tomorrow. Nigeria Card is MasterCard's response to the macro challenges in Nigeria. That's one of the projects I championed when I came on board since January. But today we have approved and launching Nigeria Card as its own Naira-denominated card. I know people complain about MasterCard because we speak in dollars, but now we have our own card customized for Nigerians, for the purpose of Nigerians, that you can actually use for financial inclusion purposes. You don't have to pay prohibitive dollar-denominated bills for you to partner with those at MasterCard. Those are the initiatives that, a number of initiatives that we have. We talk about the African Development Bank empowering 3 million farmers. That also includes women. And what we post of in MasterCard vision is we're empowering people. We are also powering economies and building the businesses where every stakeholder prospers. And that's what we are here to do. For the fact that I was raised by a generation of traders. So when I get to MasterCard, I make sure that we are looking after the female entrepreneurs because the hands that rocks the cradle rules the world. And we got them all covered, including the men as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, that's a very good one. And if you look at the program, if you look at the front page, something is very profound about ICOBA Business Preferred Meeting. ICOBA Business Preferred Meeting is all about knowledge, it's all about networking, and also opportunity. Quite a lot of information that she has shared. So it's left for us to follow up with that. Now, I'm going to go to Dr. Sheyola, the last question. Then after that, we'll go to question and answer from the audience and also for people online. Dr. She, telecom. My concern, I was in telecom for 12 years. My concern is when you look at the good things, all the values that is happening in telecoms, you can see that we have foreigners taking shape. Now, the telecom business in Nigeria is mostly owned by foreigners. MTN, South Africa. Airtel, India. Huawei, the Chinese. Completely, I have one way or the other, work with all of them. So, what is the effect of this on foreign exchange in Nigeria? And why some investors locally are looking at it? An example is Dangote refinery. You could see what Dangote did. People were saying it's not possible. He did it. And of course, having a deal with NNPC, have good oil in Naira, they have a very positive effect on forex. But you see, most telecoms, in fact, the leaders telecoms are owned by foreign investors. So, what is the effect of this on foreign exchange in Nigeria?
Thank you very much, Wale, for that question. And I will look at it from two angles. It's like a double-edged sword. One, I'm happy to say that we don't have all foreigners own telecoms businesses. Glo is there, owned by Nigeria. I think Mobile too is owned by Nigeria. But having said that, if you look at it, when this guy came to Nigeria, they came with FX. So that's good for us in terms of availability of FX in this system. However, where the problem lies is when they want to pay dividend or they want to create capital. I remember very well those early days of MTN, when they want to pay dividend, the entire banking system used to shake because they want to pay dividend. I am telling you. And they have 100% payout dividend rate as at that time. So I don't know what they do now. So that in a way is also mounting pressure. That's the opposite side now on our FX. And of course, with what has been happening now, what's leading to the devaluation of Naira is because we don't have enough to cater for what we need in FX. And that's what has been bringing the value of Naira down. So what I would propose as solution is to say that Nigerian telecoms company, being a player in Nigeria, irrespective of whether they are owned by foreigners, they should look more inward into how they procure services. That's to say that they should procure more services in Naira. And I know most of their consultants are still foreigners, apart from the equipment they buy from abroad. I know we can't do anything about equipment they use for the operations because we don't produce, as such in Nigeria. But for consultants that they pay heavily in dollars outside, they should look more inward. They've done over 2 decades in Nigeria. We have knowledge transfer, as being regulated by NOTAP. So I think it's high time they start considering local partners. So enable us balance our balance payment of trade, or what they call it, so that we don't have more outflow than inflow as a country at every point in time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Sheyola. I'll give your attention here, please. I'll need that in front. I need the second mic because we are going to So we have very short time. We are like 2 minutes ahead, late, so I want to still give that time. Now, you can ask questions either from the lead speaker or the panelist. I think I will take maybe 1 or 2 questions for people that are here, they're also online. So any question? Anybody question? Okay, Senior Lars. Your name, well, I will say your sex, maybe your sex and also your company. Me, I know you, but let people know you. Okay, sir.
My name is Gbenga Olatumbos.
More mic, sir. More mic. Okay.
Oh, I thought I was carried. My name is Gbenga Olatumbos. I'm of the 1986 from Igbobi College. I'm also Secretary General. And I'm from Oluwole House.
You are not complaining, man. So I will recognize that.
Okay, mine is both comments and a question.
Okay, sir.
We know that in the oil industry, revenue to governments is mostly from tax and royalty, rent. And that was what government realizes from equity. And we also know that it is a challenge, especially in the onshore where government owns 60% equity. It's a challenge to fund operations because anytime you want to do cash calls, government is the biggest shareholder, and yet they're the ones who are unable to fund the operation. And that over the years has culminated in the stagnation, in the lack of growth of that industry. I mean, in 1990, 91, we're doing 2 million barrels from just onshore without the deep water. Now we have deep water and we are going down. So my question is, why is government holding on to all that equity? Why not divest it? The government needs money.
Okay.
They can sell, in fact, to start the NLNG, what they did was they sold part of the equity to Shell. And that's where they derive the funds to fund the NLNG. So why don't they just give up part of this equity, raise the money, and fund it, and also on the flip side, enable the industry to grow?
Thank you very much. I don't know if anybody would like to. Okay, it's not going to with it. No, there's mic here. No one. You use there's mic here. It's not leave this up.
Yeah,
in 2 minutes, sir.
Yeah, very, very good. But you have to understand the mechanism of how the industry will operates. So the 60% equity that belongs to government basically gets that crude, and then government sells it. Now, in the industry, typically, when you produce crude, you are selling your crude to your own refinery. All right. So in the days where we had refineries operating, yes, part of that crude will go to our refineries for us to produce for the domestic market. But since we haven't had refineries working for as long as I can remember, that crude goes to where? Spot market, and traders are able to sell. And of course, there's arbitrage. And I won't say things which cannot be printed in this room. Yeah, but there are things that go on in that area. Now, the reality, I agree with you that there's no reason for government to have equity in that business, because if they sell that equity to operators, then the entire 100% to operators, the Nigerian business structure like Nigerian Energy, if you're calculating the government's stake in Nigerian Energy from last 7, 8, 9, 10 years, between taxes and dividends, Nigerian Energy is one of the biggest contributors to this economy, in dollar terms. Between taxes and dividends. Yeah. So if the same model, if you did sell the share, equity, you have huge capital, which you can use to invest in whatever you want to invest in, particularly infrastructure, new railway lines, or so on and so forth. But we all know that for government to take a kind of decision, you have to go down to what House of Reps, Senate, state governments, and so on and so forth. I don't know at what point here that decision will take.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, yes. Oh, comments. In 1 minute, in 1 minute, sir. Okay. Go on, sir.
I thought that call passed.
No. Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Namenga, there is nothing really to add. Only one thing that the current holdings are actually a drawback. Simple reason. In order to stimulate industrialization, to stimulate energy, Nigeria actually needs, in my view, to be doing 3 million barrels. Nigeria does not have the resources to do so. And if we didn't learn anything from work that Thatcher did in the United Kingdom in the 1980s, we did learn the point about a golden share, where if the government must, it can retain a golden share, having sold off its entire equity, with that golden share enabling it to intervene where there are quote-unquote matters of national importance. In other words, where there are security considerations or considerations of that kind. So for me, Femi was saying something earlier about a more aggressive balance sheet management. Nigeria has a whole balance sheet of assets that are very poorly managed for you. So this is just one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Senior Louis Salami. So I was looking at time. My big senior Efobi said we are doing well. So he said we are doing well. So I have to obey my senior. So because of that, I don't know. I think I could see a hand. We'll take one or two more questions. See, I want to take note that I know that we've quite a lot of questions we want to ask the panelists, but we also want to respect their time. So all I would advise is that get their contacts, so that you can ask them more questions. And I promise you the slides we share to everybody that's there. Okay, sir. Your name, sir. You said, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
My name is Wale Shio.
Okay, sir.
1882 slate.
Okay, sir.
I run a shop for data management.
Okay, sir.
My question actually is our very wary of when I help big companies coming into Nigeria. I hope it's MasterCard Nigeria Limited, incorporated in Nigeria. And then I hope there's no golden share somewhere. The other issue I have is data sovereignty. You pack all this data, and we know in Nigeria, we don't really have regulation that is tight in data. And it's cloud and all this. You can be doing so much out there that we have no clue about in this country. You are in Nigeria. You are there. I manage data for the oil industry in Nigeria, and I know what I'm fighting, right? I just hope our data should be resident in Nigeria. No, you don't want to have a server in AWS sitting somewhere. China is snipping, US is snipping. We want the data in Nigeria. And to get that data outside Nigeria, it should be an act of parliament. Because in Saudi Arabia, you don't take anything data out of the country. You come in there and you come out working there. No CFO prying into the server in Nigeria and controlling everything. That's just my comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senior Wale. Thank you. Senior Wale, over to you.
Thank you very much, sir. I think it's actually mostly coming, but let me just address the fact that MasterCard is a company that pride themselves in alignment with relevant laws, regulatory laws in every country where we operate. And I'm also proud to say that we have a data protection team that's actually, and I mean globally, that's actually led by a Nigerian. West Africa was the first to sign on. What that means is data protection. There's a data protection agency in Nigeria that is actually very effective. They are very good at what they do. And we have signed on, not just this year, it's been a while. And we are aligned to whatever the data protection agency regulatory laws permit. So we are fully aligned in terms of data protection. But the other part in terms of what stays in the cloud,
I think that's beyond my pay grade. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. A round of applause for you. I'll not do one more question, but time will not permit me, please. Before we move to the next line of action, we need to appreciate our partners. Please let me round of applause. You are not going yet, sir. You are not going yet. You can sit down. Just 2 seconds. You can sit down. Yeah, sorry, you can sit down. I want to invite the president of our session, Senior Femi Yoruba. We have a token for them. You know, and I have to say this. We didn't pay honorarium from any of the speakers. No honorarium. So let's get one. So I know they were going to charge us minimum of probably 2 million, each of them. But they are here, to support 2 million naira. So we just want to give them the keys. I'll start from okay, sorry.
Yes, LRS man, yeah.
I know that. There are plenty of them. So what do you? Our first vice president, please join the president, also a chairman of trustee, senior political, please join. Senior FOP, we need your presence here too, so that we can have, yes, quite a number of people too. So I will start from the lead speaker. I have to tell you this. Senior Kunle has done quite a lot of things for this event to be successful. I discussed with him at the annual dinner. We're enjoying ourselves. Say, Wale, don't worry. We'll talk about it. I'm ashamed already. Just give me time. Let me think about it. And that. Keep on calling him, and also Wale, let's go ahead. So I want to start with Senior Kunle Elebute. He's a mentor to me, mentor to myself, mentor to my friend. Fantastic guy. Senior Kunle Elebute, please over to you. Can you come forward for your application as well? Senior Kunle Elebute is the immediate past chairman, KPMG Nigeria, and also KPMG Africa. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So the next one will be Dr. Louis Salami. Dr. Louis Salami, please come. I don't think I will around you on WhatsApp. You got around me here. So the expectation is that you take handshake from then you take your own. Yes. They are the same sex, so that's why. So Dr. Louis Salami is of Lagos Business School. Thank you for your time. We appreciate. Yeah. Then the next person is Dr. The next person is my senior colleague in ICANN. Of course, the chairman and CEO of Porsche, Mr. Femi Awoyemi. Thank you for my Thank you for coming. We appreciate your time. We value this. We cannot pay you. So LRS, if you like, go and tax their own. That's your cup of tea. Thank you for coming, sir. Yeah. Of course, the first lady of FinTech in Africa, FFL, very tight, but trying to ensure that it's there. She's not an Ethiopian, but you know, he said, well, I'll be here. I will try and I will ensure I'm here. Thank you for coming. Country manager for Mastercard. Thank you for coming. Yeah. So my very good friend, I was calling him, he doesn't pick up. He's always very busy. If he's not signing 1 billion, he's signing 10 billion. He's around. It's not his own money. But he said, well, don't worry, I'll be here. I'll be here. You know, Dr. Oluseyi Olariwaju, PhD, the treasurer of Nigeria. He's not an Ethiopian, it's Basta Academy. Mr. Akipaka is there. I have the mind. Thank you for coming. Okay, so thank you, sir. You can have your seat. Thank you so much. So the panelists, you can have your seat. Thank you. Yeah. So we are wrapping up. Our president would like to really brief note, then I'll be inviting the chairman of the organizing committee, of course, for the
Yeah.
for the conference.
For us, for the vote of thanks, from the spirit of the spirit of the awards of thank you that we given to speakers. I also wanted to give special commendation to Mr. Wale Abiola, who did not introduce himself. He is the main organizer of this. He came to me late last year.
Yeah.
Says, I decided to buy the business web for 17 that we had 2017. I thought it was a good idea, but I wasn't sure how we could achieve the organization. But it then down to that. So we let it go ahead. So after I also then first business meeting that we had 2017 was organized by Philips Consulting. Maybe I should link him up with Senior Philips, see whether what is about. And indeed, it was quite a propitious choice because the two organizations, one is organization, Philips Consulting, came together, worked beautifully ever since. So I want to commend Wale Abiola, his partner. Your partner first.
Yeah, my partner is here.
Oh, he's not here.
Yeah, he's looking for money. Yeah.
Very clever. Then Philips, Philips, they dedicated to work with him. Thank you very much. See that you two did not come to.
Yeah.
Application forms are very. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President, for that wonderful year. You are asking for my partner. My partner is not an Econian. It's Banks Academy. I could recollect where we're discussing the budget for this event. You know, it was like, yeah, they are saying this one must go. It's for the College. I said, don't worry, look for somebody Banks Academy to balance the equation. He said, no problem. Look for someone. Look for somebody Banks Academy to balance the equation. He's not here. He has an assignment that find that they do that one. You know, so because of our time, I want to invite the chairman of the organizing committee, of course, the first vice president of ICOBA, and the lead partners here to connect for the vote of thanks, Mr. Yomibadejo Osanya. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Wale. I'm going to try and make this as short as possible, but let me just share a little bit of history. I remember when Mr. Bishop Phillips called me, I was Secretary General then, and he was president. And he said we needed to hold the first business meeting in 2017. And I remember it was actually funded by Mr. Kundele. He paid for it. Thank you very much.
I'm going to give you
And Big Latifoso, who happens now to be the Secretary General. Thank you very much. He didn't go as well as we wanted. I remember some of the comments that were made by the younger one. I remember one in particular, when we gathered then, or when we were announcing it, the question was that kilo by day. So if you know what that means. So we were a bit discouraged and we didn't continue with it. But I'm very glad that Wale did not feel discouraged and decided that he would repackage it and bring it back in a different form. And I must tell you that the reaction to it, the response has been tremendous. People were calling me. I was at an event yesterday and some people were accusing me why should we make it limited? We should have more number and all of that. We should make it bigger. My dear sister, Fumi Anofo, representing Queen's College, said, you Igbobians, you're always up to it. Let me come and spy what you're doing so that we too can do the same. She's here, you know. So I want to say that the turnout has been good, and I think it has been very well, good time spent. And I believe that when it comes back next time, it should be bigger.
Yeah.
And I am perhaps proposing that we should accommodate those guys at the bus stop on the way to Anthony Village. So, you know, guys, you know, overhead bridge. So, let me just, I think we will do better and we will do bigger the next time. We'll have more room to accommodate. But I'm glad that this happened, as long as this academy can pay a fair share. The president of Global College All Boys Association, past presidents, members of the Executive Council, the Secretary General, and members of the Board of Trustees, are very eminent speakers, our distinguished guests, all Igbobians, those who are online. On behalf of the president of the college, All Boys Association, on behalf of organizers, Wale's company, and on behalf of Phillips Consulting, I'd like to thank you all for joining us this morning and making this in particular. I think, has Mr. Salami left? Is he still here?
I think most of them are left.
Okay, he left. Let me just quickly say something. Mr. Professor Dwayne Salami. He fancies himself as my classmate, but actually he's senior because I attended Global College before him. We got in on the same day, but he came at just before 8 o'clock. I entered Global College at 7:30. So I arrived at Global College before him. So by reason of seniority, I'm actually senior. So Dwayne Salami, and he knew. That's why he knew when I'm coming on the microphone. That's why he left. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming. And like I said, we hope that the next time we do this, it will be much bigger. And we hope when we invite you, you will also come. Thank you. Have a pleasant day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We call it YBO, that's it. So time has actually gone. Before I will invite Ayodele Omole for the doxology, I would like to recognize. Yes.
This morning, many of us will be leaving here to go to Trinity Church, where a commendation service, I believe it is, service of funds is holding for one of our dear seniors, Chief Dr. Doyo Kubai. So as many Igbobians that can join us, then please let's just proceed there immediately after this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, as I was saying before, doxology by Ayodele Omole, I would like to quickly recognize the presence of one of our two key staff. If you go through the program booklet, page, I think page 18 and 19, you see on page 19, you see Energy IHO. The MD is here, Mr. Tunde Akitola, Minister of Preparation. Thank you very much for coming. The SCA, one of our key clients here, without them, this event will not be here. Also, I have my very good friend, the MD of Checkup. Checkup also is one of our clients. They are here to give us and to give everybody here 25% of whatever you have. I can tell you, guaranteed, quality, interest rate that I will give you. So, Mr. Musa Abila, thank you, sir, for revolution. Thank you for coming, sir. So, go and meet him. He can help you to multiply your money. It's very good in doing that. whatever you have, we're able to multiply it. So please permit to invite conductology as we run up. And please immediately. Okay, I think I did that. I recognize your Smith. Yeah, I did it. Yes. So just after our doxology, we'll be going out for our breakfast. Please, as you go out, you'll be given the tickets. So use your tickets to take breakfast just in front of this place. Then also we'll be taking one or two photographs. And please take as much photograph as you like. We're going to share the link for everyone. So I'll be inviting.
Oh, good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, sirs. Please, I sent a chat. I've been on this platform for a while now. I sent a chat before you close or you go for breakfast. Nobody can eat without answering my question, please. I said.
Okay, what is the question? Is it from online? Okay, what's the question? Okay, let's go ahead. So please, as I said, you get our ticket for our breakfast after the doxology. Okay, is it time? Okay, Ayo Omoli, doxology first. Please, can we please start off for doxology? Then the Susan. Discussion. That's all we do. For it to our we must have into the Lord we do. So we ever for us we go. In the answers, great as I. All I say, all I say, all I say. Shekewa. Please, I just quickly, as we go for our breakfast, I want to say thank you to all members of the organizing committee for making this happen. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Kenneth Alokai, the chairman of Banazam, says thank you. Thank you for the partners involved. Muliola, thank you so much. Ayodele Omole, thank you so much. Dayo Okalami, Wale Makinde, thank you. Shekola Daulu, thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you so much. Yes. Oh, thank you so much. Good. Mother, see the show. to the capital. Yes, I'll put out the answer. Thanks for coming. Thank you. Hope it was meaningful. Yeah. Definitely. I need something like this. Oh, sense. Oh, that's funny. Sorry.